Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on this 1 day time frame for Bitcoin, because today we are seeing another move to the downside after we got rejected from this descending line of resistance that I talked about in yesterday's video as well. Currently, we are trading inside this big level of support, sitting from 62.4K all the way down to 60,000 US dollars. And in terms of resistance to the upside, we do have this descending trend line, of course. But in the case that we break above that, the next big level of resistance is sitting between 65K and 66,000 for Bitcoin. Although, of course, we are still in this downtrend. So therefore, we should be looking for levels where we could find some short-term support. So now zooming into that short term, looking at the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, we are currently in the process of breaking down below this Fibonacci golden pocket, sitting between 62.7K and 62,000 US dollars. Now, a big level of support is around this 60K level, because we also have the 0.5 Fibonacci level sitting at 59.5K. So I do think if we come down to this 60K to 59.5K range, we should expect some support there. But more interestingly, on these Fibonacci levels here, we also have that 0.382 Fibonacci level sitting at 61.2K. We actually have just touched this Fibonacci level here and have started to see a little bit of a bounce. Now, I do think that this is just a short-term level of support, and eventually we should be breaking down below this if we do not break above this descending trend line here. Now, you may remember as well that on the 4-hour time frame, I took a look at the RSI momentum indicator recently. At the time, I think it was about 2 days ago, I took a look at this and we were trading inside this circle right here. And I did say that if we broke down below this trend line, we should see that as a warning signal in the short term, because we would very likely be seeing some choppy sideways price action or some bearish momentum at that point. Now, what have we actually seen in the charts here since I made that video? Well, we broke down below this 0.236 Fibonacci level, which I also mentioned could be a short-term bearish signal if we actually break down below it. So then we actually broke below it. We broke below the RSI trend line. And since then, we have seen nothing but sideways and bearish momentum here. Either way, taking a look at this 1-hour time frame right now, what you can see is that there is still quite a bit of room to the downside on the RSI momentum indicator, again on that 1-hour time frame. So keep in mind, we're talking about the immediate short term here. Currently, the RSI is at 35, and until the RSI is actually below 30, we are technically not in oversold territory. So that means that there is some more room to the downside in the immediate short term. Something to look out for, though, is that if we actually reach deep into oversold territory here, that at some point the RSI will need to reset back up to around this 50 level. We saw it right here recently where the RSI was in overbought conditions. And after that, we also saw the RSI reset back down to around this 50 level. Now, the way the RSI actually resets is either by some choppy sideways price action or potentially some bearish momentum in the short term. And if we are resetting from oversold territory, well, it is simply the opposite in that case, which means that if we are in oversold territory on the 1-hour time frame, we would likely be seeing some choppy sideways price action or potentially even some bullish momentum in the short term in order to reset that RSI back up to the 50 level, as I said. Now, taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, first of all, on the 2-week time frame, as you can see right here, we just took out a massive bucket of liquidity of about $380 million of Bitcoin long positions that just lost their money on their trade. And we have even more liquidity to the downside at about 60K, with about $480 million worth of long positions that would get liquidated if the Bitcoin price reaches 59.7K for the Bitcoin price. So this area is like a magnet for Bitcoin, where the lower down we go here, the more likely it is that we are actually coming to grab this liquidity here. To be fair, there is also some liquidity to the upside at 66.5K. However, before we can even start talking about that, we need to see another break above that Fibonacci golden pocket sitting between 62K and 62.7K for the Bitcoin price, where we would need to see Bitcoin hold that as a level of support or just break above that once again. And only unless that happens, then we can start talking about higher levels for Bitcoin after that. But until then, we should expect there to be more resistance at that Fibonacci golden pocket. Lastly, taking a look at the Bitcoin ETF flow tables for today. Yesterday, we saw a net outflow of about $20 million. And yeah, this is basically just a neutral day for Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a massive market and therefore $20 million in or out isn't really having a big impact on the actual Bitcoin price action for that day. For now, there isn't really too much else that is very interesting to say about this. The Bitcoin ETFs are flip-flopping and we're talking about small in and outflows here. So there is simply not too much going on. So this has been today's market update. Don't forget to go check out the links in the video description because you can find an exchange on which you can trade with much lower fees here. So especially if you are trading crypto with leverage, I highly recommend you check out these exchanges here because I have some exclusive trading fee discounts that you can use by registering with the links in the video description here, as well as some exclusive bonuses. So I highly recommend you guys check this out. Either way, if you do end up claiming those bonuses or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.